This video is on the Zoom H1 and H1n handy recorder. This is a portable stereo recorder which can also connect to external microphones through a jack socket. The device can also act as an audio interface for a computer and so packs a lot of features into a very small package. The H1n takes two AAA batteries for power, and the Zoom H1 takes a single AA battery. We'd recommend that you keep a stock of these handy. To turn it on, pull down the slider on the side for a couple of seconds and the device will boot up. The device can be turned off in the same way. If you want to clear the memory of your recorder's SD card, you can do so by holding down the bin button whilst turning on the recorder. On the Zoom H1, press the record button to format the memory card. On the Zoom H1n, the screen will display a menu where you can set things like the time and date. Use the buttons below the screen to scroll to the SD card and use the button on the far right to select the next menu. On this menu, use the right-hand button to select the Format option and press it again to confirm. Beware that this will delete any previous recordings still on the memory card. You can then press the left button twice to exit the menu system. On the main screen for the H1n, you can see the battery power in the top right corner, as well as the level meters for your microphones running left to right in the center of the screen. On the Zoom H1, the level meters are on the left-hand side of the screen and run vertically. Next, we'll look at the four buttons on the front of the recorder, which control various settings. We'll look at them from left to right. The first button is the Recording File Format button. We'd recommend setting this to 44.1 kHz WAV at all times. However, if you are syncing your recording to a video, you might want to select 48 kHz as it solves sampling issues in editing. The second button from the left is the High Pass filter. Frequencies below this value will be filtered out of the recording. This can reduce handling noise or rumbles in your recordings. For recording music, we would recommend leaving this turned off, as it might impact the signal you're trying to capture and can always be removed later. The third button is for the limiter. This attempts to stop the device from clipping by turning down the loudest parts of a signal. Whilst this is fine for spoken word, this will affect the dynamic range of the signal you are trying to record and will compromise the music you are recording. If your signal is clipping, avoid using this feature and instead turn down the gain dial until you have a healthy signal. The button on the far right is an auto level feature. It will aim to create a recording with a consistently healthy level. Again, this is great for spoken word or when using the device as a dictaphone. However, it has the effect of increasing the background noise in silent or quieter parts of the recording, again compromising the dynamic range when working with music. We recommend that you always set these last three buttons to off. On the Zoom H1, these settings can be found on the rear of the device. Please note that the Zoom H1 does not have the limiter function. To change sample rate and bit depth on the Zoom H1, you can use the fast forward and rewind buttons. The headphone socket is coloured green and located on the left-hand side of the unit. The volume control is located just below it. We'd recommend that you always turn the volume up to 100 so you can hear everything that the recorder is doing. The input level of the signal being recorded, otherwise known as gain, can be controlled using the circular dial at the top of the H1n or by using the buttons on the right-hand side of the H1. Use your ears and the level meters on the screen to set this to a healthy level with enough headroom to capture louder dynamics. If you have an external microphone plugged into the right-hand side of the device, this dial will control the gain for that. Otherwise, it'll control the gain for the onboard XY pair. To start and stop recordings, press the big red recording button. You can play back recordings from the device using the transport controls at the bottom of the front panel, or on the right-hand side if you're using the Zoom H1. Files can be transferred from the device in one of two ways. You can remove the micro SD card from the side of the device and insert it into a card reader, allowing you to use the memory of the device in the same way as a USB stick, or you can plug the device into a computer using a mini USB cable. When you plug the H1n into a computer in this way, the screen will show two options. Select card reader and the microSD memory of the device will be made available to your computer in the same way as a normal USB stick. The H1n or H1 also functions as an audio interface for your computer or iOS device. To enable this, plug the device into your computer using a mini USB cable and select Audio Interface from the menu on the screen. If you are using the Zoom H1, the screen will flash between USB audio and USB card. Select USB audio when it flashes on screen using the record button. You can then choose what sort of device you are plugging into. For this tutorial, I'm plugging into a computer rather than an iOS device. The next screen gives you the option to power the device from either the internal battery or via bus power, which is from the machine you're plugged into. We recommend using bus power so that your batteries will last longer. Note that some USB hubs and older computers might not support this. Try plugging the H1n directly into your machine if this happens. You can then use the microphones on the device as the audio input for your computer. For example, as an input for video calls or when recording into your favorite digital audio workstation. You can also select the H1n as the audio output, meaning that you can also take advantage of the headphone jack on the device. That's all for this video. Enjoy using the Zoom H1n.